just rockets, lots of them, dozens upon dozens upon dozens, dozens more rockets, and the music stops. I said, I'm from Canada. I'm not used to rockets.
What was your gut telling you?
Something really bad is happening. Like, both of my cousin and I think we knew. Like, no one told us. We didn't know Hamas had attacked us, but like, who else?
As chaos erupted at the Nova Music Festival in southern Israel on October 7th, Toronto-born photographer Shai Klein Weinstein began to film. Why do you want people to see your pictures and videos from that day?
I was there, and I wouldn't believe it happened if I didn't have photos and videos of it happening. I want them to see what our reality was, because it's a very real thing that happened to us.
A reality shared by the Regina-born family of Tiferet Lapidot, a young Israeli woman who was killed at that festival.
She was just a youngster participating in a party, in a peace party, dancing. Like every youngster here in Canada probably did.
Her uncle and father returned to Canada soon after the attack with a message.
If we won't fight terror, it will come, it will knock on our door, on your door. It's the same door.
This war has shaken the feelings of peace and security here at home.
Within days of the Hamas attack on Israel, police in Canada stepped up security around Jewish communities and places of worship, noting an uptick in reported hate crimes.
It's been really tough. It's not something that we ever would have thought would be our reality.
This Jewish-owned cafe in Toronto was swarmed by hundreds of protesters waving Palestinian flags, with calls to boycott the business.
We have heard the Toronto police reporting that there has been a rise in hate-motivated incidents.
Homes with mezuzahs, a scroll made of parchment inscribed with a prayer, were targeted.
My grandparents are Holocaust survivors. And to think that in a country that they thought was such an incredibly safe place to live, we have to be living in this kind of fear.
We've got to get this off. It's time.
This family in a small Ontario community came home one day to this.
I'm not Israeli. I'm not Palestinian. I'm a Canadian citizen living in a small town working for my family.
There have been other suspected hate-motivated incidents.
Some car pulled up to me, rolled down the window, pointed at my Israeli flag that I had on my car from the rally and said, F you, F your mother, pulled gum out of his mouth and threw it at me.
This Indigo bookstore vandalized, dozens of posters bearing the image of the company's Jewish CEO with the words, funding genocide. And this Jewish-owned grocery store set ablaze, graffiti scrawled on its back door.
This is not lawful protest protected by constitutional right. This is a criminal act.
A Montreal Jewish school hit twice by gunfire in less than a week.
I looked at it not just literally as someone shooting bullets through the door of the school, but figuratively, someone just shooting a bullet into this warm, beautiful community and just like shaking us up for absolutely no reason other than hatred and bias.
University campuses across North America have become a hotbed for tension, with student clashes, some violent, like this one at Concordia in Montreal.
What is happening in synagogues, in schools, at businesses, people's homes, this is not Canada.
Raheel Raza is the president of the Council of Muslims Against Antisemitism.
My holy book, the Quran, tells me that unless I respect the people of the book, which includes Jews and Christians and people of other faith, I can't expect for them to respect me.
Unfortunately, since October 7th, our phones have been ringing off the hook. I have had people calling me, say they're the only Jewish family in their school, their child is being spit on. They have students etching swastikas into their child's locker, onto their desk.
Global News brought these community concerns to Toronto's police chief.
Jewish people in this city say they don't feel safe. They're afraid to send their kids to school. They don't want to go to synagogues. What do you tell them directly about how any of this is going to change that?
I'll tell them that we remain committed in a whole-of-service response.
Between October 7th and December 17th, Toronto's police chief says there were 98 hate crimes reported, compared to 48 during the same time in 2022. Of these incidents, more than half were anti-Semitic.
What starts with words all too often leads to violent acts. And we're grateful for police for deploying the resources necessary and taking action to hold those who perpetrate hate against Jewish people and anybody else in this city accountable.
And that's the only thing I have of my mom.
For Holocaust survivor Hetty Bohm, watching the news filled with acts of hate brings her mind back decades.
I don't understand it, just as I didn't understand what was going on in 1944. I was in hell in Auschwitz. My mom was going straight for the poison gas chambers with all the babies and children and young women. And I can imagine a world where people are kind to one another, regardless of color and religion and nationality.
We're inside Toronto's Holocaust Museum, which is all about preserving the memory of the Holocaust. They use cutting-edge technology to teach about the lessons of the Holocaust and about countering anti-Semitism and hatred of all forms. There's actually a group of students that just walked in. There's constantly a steady flow of students from all across the Greater Toronto area.
They're coming here to really understand the full scope and to hear survivor testimony and to learn the rise of anti-Semitism and the impact that the Holocaust had on the Jewish community.
What does it look like to be an ally of the Jewish people?
I think standing up for the Jewish community and listening and lending your voice is so essential right now, so that we know that we are part of Canadian society and that we aren't alone. I think that's so important.